One morning, a young servant named Ebere accidentally spilled a goblet of wine while serving the king. The room fell silent, the sound of the goblet shattering to the floor. Ebere's face turned white with fear as she knelt to clean up the mess. King Obina's eyes narrowed towards her. Ebere, he shouted, his voice dangerously loud. Come here. Ebere, trembling, approached the king. She fell to her knees, her eyes cast downwards. Forgive me, my king, she said. Without warning, Obina struck her across the face with a force. Shock filled the room, but no one dared to intervene. Many years ago, in the ancient kingdom of Omona, a village known for its peace and prosperity, there was a wise and just king named Eudo. Eudo was loved by his people. His reign brought prosperity and happiness to the people. He was respected by the council of elders and felt deep respect by his family. Prince Obina is the only son of King Eudo. He had grown reckless and restless under his father's steady and calm rule. He was a young man with a fierce hunger for power and burning desire to leave his mark on the kingdom. His mother, Queen Jeda, was even more ambitious. She nurtured her dreams of seeing her son ascend the throne, believing he was destined for greatness. One fateful evening, Queen Jeda summoned her son to her private chambers. Obina, she whispered to him, her voice barely audible, but heavy with urgency. We cannot wait any longer. Your father's throne is holding you back. It is time to act. Obina's eyes widened, a mix of excitement and fear flashing across his face. But how, mother? How can we achieve this without raising suspicion? Queen Jideka smiled in a cunning way. We will use Adora, one of the maids. She will do our bidding. Meanwhile, Adora was a young maid, not for her loyalty and hard work. She came from a humble background, and her family depended on her earnings. That night, Queen Jideka summoned her to her loyal chambers. Adora entered, her heart pounding, unaware of the dark fate that awaited her. Your service to the palace has not gone unnoticed, Queen Jideka began. But now, I need you to do something for me. Adora bowed respectfully. Anything, my queen. Queen Jideka's eyes turned cold. Tomorrow night, you will poison the king's food. If you refuse, your whole family will suffer greatly. Adora's blood ran cold. She looked at the queen, her eyes wide with terror. But, but why, my queen? The king is a good man. Queen Jideka leaned forward. It is not for you to question. You will do as I say, or you will watch your whole family perish. Tears streamed down in Adora's eyes. But she nodded. She knew she had no choice. Her family's safety depended on her compliance. The next evening, the palace was unusually quiet. The servants moved about their daily duties. Adora, with trembling hands, prepared the king's favorite meal. She hesitated as she held the small container containing the poison the queen had given her, her heart heavy with guilt and fear. But the image of her family's suffering pushed her to continue. As she served the food, King Eudo smiled warmly at her. Thank you, Adora, he said kindly, his eyes twinkling with the same warmth and kindness that had earned him the love of his people. Adora's heart ached as she forced a smile. You're welcome, my king. Later that night, the palace erupted in chaos. King Eudo collapsed, his face pale and his body shaking uncontrollably in pain. The loyal physician rushed to his side, but it was too late. Within the hours, the beloved king was dead. Prince Obina and Queen Jeda watched the scene unfold with cold detachment. They had succeeded in their dark plot, but even as they celebrated their victory in secret, fear lingered in Obina's mind. We cannot leave any loose ends, Obina whispered to his mother. Later that night, Adora must be silenced. Queen Jeda nodded, her eyes devoid of emotion. Do what you must do. During the evening, under the cover of darkness, Obina sneaked into Adora's quarters. The young maid was asleep, exhausted from the events of the day. Without hesitation, Obina covered her mouth to stop her from screaming and put a dagger into her heart. Adora's eyes flew open in shock and pain, but within moments, her body went limp. Obina wiped the blood from his hands, his expression cold and unfeeling. With Adora gone, their secret was safe, or so they believed. The next morning, the kingdom awoke to the news of their beloved king's death. Mourning and grief swept through the land like a dark cloud. The kingdom of Omona mourned the sudden and tragic loss of King Eudo. His funeral was a sober affair, with thousands of his subjects coming to pay their last respects. The air was thick with grief and sorrow, and the sound of weeping filled the palace ground. Despite the mourning period, the wheels of power could not stop turning. Obina was crowned the new king. The ceremony was grand, but it lacked the joy and hope that had accompanied his father's reign. King Obina, adorned in royal attire, stood before his people with a hardened expression. People of Omona, Obina declared, his voice echoing through the hall. I promise to lead this kingdom with strength and determination. Within the days of his coronation, Obina's true nature began to reveal itself. He ruled with an iron fist, demanding absolute obedience and loyalty. Those who made even the slightest mistake were met with harsh punishment. Servants who once moved freely through the palace now walked on eggshell, terrified of incurring the king's wrath. He slapped servants for the slightest mistakes and imprisoned anyone who dared to disobey him, including his own sister, Princess Chidimma. The once peaceful kingdom of Omona was now a place of fear and suffering. One morning, a young servant named Ebere accidentally spilled a goblet of wine while serving the king. The room fell silent, the sound of the goblet shattering to the floor. Ebere's face turned white with fear as she knelt to clean up the mess. King Obina's eyes narrowed towards her. Ebere, he shouted, his voice dangerously loud. Come here. Ebere, trembling, approached the throne. She fell to her knees, her eyes cast downward. Forgive me, my king, she pleaded, without warning. King Obina struck her across the face with a force. Shock filled the room, but no one dared to intervene. Let this be a lesson to all, Obina declared, his voice cold and mistless. Incompetency and disrespect will not be tolerated. Ebere was dragged away, her cheeks swollen and bruised. The incident sent a clear message to everyone in the palace. Obina's rule was not to be questioned. The new king's cruelty extended beyond the palace walls. He imposed heavy taxes on the people of Omona, demanding more and more from his subjects. Those who could not pay were imprisoned, or even worse. Princess Chidimma, Obina's younger sister, watched in horror as her brother's reign of terror unfolded. She had always known him to be ambitious, but the newfound cruelty was beyond anything she could have imagined. Chidimma, who had been close to her father, felt a growing sense of fear and helplessness. One evening, Princess Chidimma approached Obina in the Loyal Gardens, hoping to reason with him. "Brother," she began, "why are you doing this? Father would not have wanted this for our people." Obina turned to her. "Chidimma, you do not understand what it takes to rule. Father was weak. His kindness made us vulnerable. I am making us strong." "Strong?" Chidimma asked. "You are turning the people against you. They live in fear. This is not strength, oh. This is tyranny." Obina's eyes flashed with anger. "Enough!" he snapped. "You are my sister, but I will not tolerate any argument even from you. You will learn to stay silent, or you will face the consequences." Chidimma's heart sank. She realized that her brother was beyond reasoning. His lust for power had consumed him entirely. Meanwhile, Princess Chidimma is a kind and graceful princess. She was known throughout the village for her beauty and gentle heart. People from all walks of life admired her, but none more than a humble young man named Ndo. Ndo was a farmer, and though he was not rich, he was hardworking and honest. He lived in a small village on the outskirts of the kingdom. One day, while he was selling vegetables at the market, he saw Princess Chidimma. She was visiting the market, looking at the colorful stalls. Their eyes met, and in that instant, something special boomed between them. Princess Chidimma smiled at Ndu, and he shyly smiled back. From that day on, they met secretly at the market whenever they could. They talked about their dreams, their lives, and their hopes for the future. Despite their different background, Princess Chidimma and Udo's love grows stronger with each passing day. They knew they were meant for each other. However, there is one person who would not approve of their love: Prince Obina, Chidimma's elder brother. Prince Obina was a cruel and arrogant man. He believed that only someone of high status should marry his sister. When he discovered Chidimma's secret meeting with Ndo, he was furious. He confronted Princess Chidimma. "Chidimma," Obina roared, "how dare you, you shameless girl! How dare you shame our family by associating with a local farmer? You will end this foolishness at once." But Obina, Chidimma pleaded, "Ndo is kind and good. He loves me for who I am, not for my status or wealth. Please, let me be happy." "Me too. I don't care about his status. Whether he's rich, whether he's poor, I love Ndo. Please, stay away from our issues." Obina's face twisted with anger. I will not allow this disgrace. You will stay away from that man, or you will face the consequences. Chidimma, determined to follow her heart, continued to meet Ndo in secret. However, Obina soon found out and decided to take drastic measures. He ordered his palace guards to seize Chidimma and lock her up in the highest tower of the palace, forbidding her from seeing or communicating with Ndo. The tower was cold and lonely, and Princess Chidimma's heart ached for Ndo. She spent her days looking out the small window, hoping to catch a glimpse of him in the distance. Ndo, meanwhile, searched desperately for Chidimma, unaware of her imprisonment. As days passed, Princess Chidimma's spirit began to wane. She missed Ndo terribly and wondered if she could ever see him again. One night, as she sat by the window, she heard a low voice calling her name. Chidimma, Chidimma, are you there? Her heart leaped with joy. Ndo, is that you? Yes, my love, Ndo replied. I have missed you so much. I've searched everywhere for you. Tears filled Chidimma's eyes. Obina has locked me in this tower. He forbids me to see you. As Ndo's voice filled with determination, don't worry, Chidimma. I will find a way to free you. Our love is stronger than any prison. Princess Chidimma felt a glimmer of hope. Be careful, Ndo. Obina, my brother, is cruel and will stop at nothing to keep us apart. I promise, Chidimma, I will find a way. As Ndo left the palace ground, he began to form a plan to rescue Princess Chidimma. He knew it would be dangerous, but he was willing to risk everything for the woman he loved. Meanwhile, inside the palace, Chidimma prayed for Ndo's safety and dreamed of the day they would be together again. The next morning, Ndo sought the help of his friends in the village. He told them about Princess Chidimma's plight and his plan to rescue her. They were moved by his story and agreed to help. Together, they devised a plan to sneak into the palace and free the princess. At night, Ndo and his friends made their way to the palace. They avoided the guards and climbed the walls, moving slowly and silently. Ndo led the way, his heart pounding. When they reached the tower, Ndo called Chidimma slowly. We are here, Chidimma. Chidimma's heart raced. Ndo, please be careful. The guards will catch you. We'll be quick, Ndo assured her. With the help of his friends, he climbed up to the window of the tower and opened it. Chidimma reached out and Ndo took her hands, helping her climb down safely. Just as they were about to escape, a guard spotted them and raised alarm. Intruders! Intruders! Stop them! Stop them! Princess Chidimma and Ndo ran as fast as they could, but Obina and his guard were quickly chasing them. They reached the palace gates. Before they could escape, Obina blocked their way. His face contoured with rage. You dare defy me? Obina shouted at Chidimma. And you, farmer boy, you think you can steal my sister away from here? Ha! You are brave. Ndo stand tall, holding Princess Chidimma's hand. We love each other. Nothing you do can change that. Obina drew one of the palace sword, pointing it at Ndo. You will pay for this insolence. He ordered the palace guard to lock up Ndu and Chidimma for 30 days without food and water. Days turned into weeks. King Obina's rule grew even harsher. The palace became a place of fear and oppression. Servants who gossiped among themselves were punished. The elders of Omona were expected for their wisdom and guidance, grew increasingly concerned. They knew that the kingdom could not survive under such tyranny. In an attempt to curb or stop Obina's cruelty, they sought an audience with the king. Your Majesty, began Elder Okeke, the oldest and most respected among them. The people are suffering. We beg you to show mercy and kindness as your father did. Obina's eyes narrowed towards him. He felt irritated as he listened to the elders plead. You dare question my rule? I am the king, and you will respect my authority. We do respect you, your majesty, Elder Okeke replied him carefully. But a kingdom cannot thrive on fear alone. Consider finding a queen, a good wife, might soften your heart and help you rule us more justly. The suggestion seemed to catch Obina off guard. He pondered over it for a moment, then nodded slowly. Very well, he said. I will find a wife, but make no mistake. I will rule as I seem fit. The search for a queen began. Obina selected a beautiful young woman named Chinelo from a neighboring village. She was known for her grace and intelligence, and the elders hoped she might help influence the king for the better. On the day of their wedding, the palace was adorned with flowers and vibrant decorations. The people of Omona held hope that Chinelo's presence might bring a change in the king's heart. After the wedding, Obina introduced Chinelo to the elders. Here is my queen, he declared. Let her be a symbol of my unity and strength. But as King Obina stood before the elders, a strange sensation overcame him. His legs grew weak and he stumbled. He tried to rise, but his legs were weak and they could not obey. Panic and confusion spread throughout the hall. As Obina collapsed, unable to move, physicians rushed to his side, but they could not explain the sudden affliction. Obina's once so powerful and feared king is now crippled. As Obina lay in his chambers, helpless and furious, the people of Omona began to gossip. Had the spirit intervened to punish this cruel king? And what did this mysterious illness mean for the future of this kingdom? Queen Chinelo, now the young bride of the crippled king, became afraid and scared. She had married Obina with the hope of bringing some light and compassion into his heart. But this sudden illness had made her to think twice about the marriage. Or better still, find out the main reason for the instant illness. Determined to uncover the truth, she spent her days observing the palace staff and listening to the gossip that filled the corridors. She decided to go further and ask questions. The next day, as Obina lay confined to his bed, his mind tormented, By his sudden helplessness, Queen Chinelo began her investigation. She spoke with the palace staffs, asking discreet questions and piecing the whole thing together. She pieced the information bit by bit. It was during one of those conversations that a young maid named Nkem approached Chinelo with fear. Your Majesty, there is something you need to know, she whispered, looking around to ensure there were no one overhearing their conversation. Chinelo leaned in closer. What is it, Nkem? Speak freely. With Nkem's eyes wide in fear, I was there the night King Eudo died. I saw Adora, the maid who was accused of poisoning him. But there is more. I saw Queen Jeda speaking to her in low tones, and later I saw Prince Obina entering Adora's quarters. The next morning, Adora was found dead. Chinelo's breath caught in her throat. She was so shocked. She had suspected foul play, but hearing this confirmed it all. Thank you, Nkem, she said. You have done a great service to the kingdom. With this new information, Chinelo decided to inform one of the elders, Elder Okeke. They both decided to sought help from the chief priest, Ezemo, a wise man known for his deep connection to the spirit rhythm. They hoped he might have insight into Obina's condition. Ezemo listened intently as they recounted what had happened. He nodded slowly. The spirit had indeed revealed much to me, he said. The king's affliction is a result of his own actions. The ancestors are punishing him for the bloodshed and betrayal he had brought upon himself. Elder Okeke frowned and confused. What must we do, Ezemo? How can we bring justice and restore balance to the kingdom? Ezemo stood, his presence commanding and powerful. We must confront Queen Jeda and Obina for the truth. The ancestors will guide us, but we must all be careful. That very evening, Ezemo, Elder Okeke and Queen Chinelo gathered in the great hall, summoning Queen Jeda and the bedridden Obina. Servants and some villagers also stood watching. Queen Jeda entered. Obina was brought in a wheelchair. Ezemo, what is the meaning of this? Queen Jeda demanded. Ezemo stepped forward, his eyes locked on hers. Queen Jeda, it is time for the truth to be revealed. The spirit has spoken. King Eudo's death was not natural. He was poisoned, and you were the architect of all these plots. Queen Jide's face turned pale. You have no proof? Elder Okeke stepped forward. In Adora's quarters, we found this container. It contained traces of the same poison that killed King Eudo. Adora was persuaded into committing this vile act, and then she was silenced by your son. Obina's eyes widened in shock, and he struggled to speak. This is a lie, but his voice lacked conviction. Chinelo, his new wife, stepped forward. Nkem saw you enter Adora's quarters. The truth cannot be hidden any longer. I can't believe I married a murderer. Something struck Queen Jeda immediately. She fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. Yes, I did it. I did it, she confessed, her voice breaking. I did it all for my son. I wanted him to be the king. I thought it was the only way. Everyone looked shocked, and Momo filled the hall. Ezemo raised his hand, calling for silence. The spirit has revealed another truth, he said. Obina is not the true son of King Eudo. Queen Jideka, you were unfaithful, and in your desperation, you sought to place your son on the throne. Obina's eyes filled with horror and disbelief. No, it cannot be. King Eudo, thought to be dead, suddenly appeared in the hall, supported by two guards. Everyone was shocked. I'm alive, he declared. His voice was strong despite his weakened state. Adora informed me of the poison, and I faked my death to uncover the truth. Jideka, your betrayal has brought rain upon this kingdom. King Eudo turned to Princess Chidimma and Ndo, who had been freed from their unjust imprisonment. Chidimma, my dear, you have shown strength and courage in the face of darkness. You will help me restore this kingdom to its former glory. Tears filled Chidimma's eyes as she embraced her father. Yes, father, we will rebuild and bring justice to our people. With a heavy heart, King Eudo pronounced the judgment. Queen Jideka and Obina, for your crimes of murder, treason, and deceit, you are banished from the kingdom of Omona. You will be thrown into the evil forest. May you find redemption in your exile. The guards led the disgraced queen and her son away. As they disappeared from sight of everyone, a sense of relief and hope began to fill the hearts of the people. King Eudo, for not having anyone else to replace him after his death, he declared that anybody that married his princess will be the next king of the kingdom. Ndo later married Princess Chidimma and became the next king of Omona kingdom. Together, they faced the future with renewed determination, ready to heal the wounds of their kingdom and restore the light that had been lost. In the end, the story of Prince Obina and Queen Jideka became a cautionary tale told to generations. It was a reminder that greed and treachery leads to downfall, while truth and justice prevail. We are sending a special hug to Tamara Smith 9766. Thanks for your lovely comments on our previous videos. And Joy6369 watching from California, USA. Thanks for your support. Comment below where you are watching us from. Let us send you a special hug in our next video. Please kindly share with your loved ones and don't forget to subscribe. Bye and God bless you.